company here my father and my uncle created 30 years ago.
Max Metzgar is the next generation of his family's import beef distribution business in Paris, France. His family's business is considered one of the most prestigious meat butchers in Paris.
Selection, quality, high quality.
Max works at the Rungis market, just outside of Paris. It's where all the restaurants come and purchase their product. The day starts at midnight and is wrapped up by 9 a.m.
The process, the dry aging process.
And this French beef distributor has built a business on American beef.
If you come in my fridge and you see my brand of meat, United people won't be surprised, but maybe French people will be surprised.
The French take great pride in French brands, but Max says opinions around American beef have changed significantly.
In Paris, American beef perception, I think it's elite beef.
So here's one of the things I want to show you that I think is pretty interesting. So this is beef from Kansas and from the state of Washington, but the beef itself is sourced from ranches across Idaho, Washington, and Montana before ultimately getting slaughtered, being packaged up into boxes, and then making its way right here to Paris, France.
Max is one of only a handful of distributors selling American beef.
From Montana, Idaho, and Washington. I think it's a unique flavor.
And that has to do with the relationship with Laura Messi of the Giardi Company. Her company not only imports the beef, but it sells it at their French restaurants. Laura says that American beef has become similar to how we equate champagne from France.
U.S. beef for us is extremely high-end. The quality, the marbling, the flavor, the taste, the experience really is just unique.
There's a lot of factors that contribute, but some of the big points, American beef is younger.
And we've had to explain that and also explain to the French market in particular that this cattle was younger cattle, so less reds and so on.
French beef is typically 5 years old, whereas American beef is usually 2 years old. And for the most part, our beef is grain-fed.
It's been amazing for us, Europeans, to find out how scientific making meat is. We have been more focused on the breed and animal husbandry, yes, but less on the feed and genetics.
And Laura says that's what sets us apart. But with that, the EU had a different regulation system, and all meat must be hormone-free.
Originally, it was complicated because we don't treat our cattle with hormones in Europe. So each cattle breeder is going to have separate pens of cattle, and you will have the NHTC ones, which are tagged since their birth as NHTC, as non-hormone treated cattle. And they're separated from the rest. There's no contamination there.
Non-hormone treated cattle must have no cross-contamination in slaughtering as well. There's only about 5 slaughterhouses in the United States certified to do trade with the European Union. When cattle arrives, it goes through a cleaning, and then the slaughterhouse goes through a cleaning before work can begin.
Today is very good because after 20 years, it's managed to have a great reputation.
Okay, so Laura and Max showed us where the beef enters the European Union, but this is the part that I think we're all interested in. Eating it, right? So we're gonna go to one of Paris' most premier restaurants and see how they cook up and serve American beef.
At Beef Bar, Laura is meeting with clients, educating them on the product, which is, in part, our beef. And the USDA says this is how we make headway in the international market.
These connections are really the start of a beautiful friendship over food.
David Leishman, who's from Wyoming and works for the USDA in Paris, is tasked with helping get our American agriculture on the table.
Beef is a good example where our relationship is evolving. 20 years ago, we probably wouldn't have been able to sell American beef here simply because of the hormone issue.
The USDA brought a case against the European Union, and it involved some serious negotiations. Now, years later, American beef is being purchased at premier restaurants in Paris.
It's a way to tell our story of quality, but also of our know-how, and it creates value for the French market, for French consumers, as well as for our own producers in states like Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. And so it's really food diplomacy.
Okay, so I'm sitting right now in Beef Bar in Paris, and we are getting the opportunity to try the beef that we saw earlier today from our region right here. So right here is a taste of home in Paris, France.